and welcome to the Pedro Show. Today we'll be talking about and paying tribute to many who lost their lives and who survived on September 11th. I'd like to pay tribute to them and their families on this 10th year anniversary. The tragedy of September 11th is one that no one will ever forget. And I think, even now more than ever, personally to me, it is also quite difficult. I didn't lose anyone, but, everybody has a sense. I think every American has a sense of loss because of this tragedy. As one who actually saw the World Trade Center a year before the attack, it is extremely hard for me to believe that it still occurred. And September 11th for me feels just like yesterday. It's probably something I'll never forget personally. I was in school, middle school KMS. We were watching Channel 1, of course, in Mrs. Lowe's room. Mrs. Lowe came in, and she said that there's been unconfirmed reports that there was a car bomb that rammed into the World Trade Center. And, of course, we were all confused, and as I was walking around the hallway, with the hall pass one time, I think right after or a couple of classes later, you can see that I saw that all the classrooms were tuned to the TV, but I didn't see anything on the TV. Also, I remember a friend of mine in that classroom, Mrs. Lowe's classroom, asked a question of whether the World Trade Center was still up. She was not quite sure exactly, I think, about that in that period of time, and I didn't see the footage until I got home. Grandmother picked me up and said that a plane rammed into both World Trade Centers and they collapsed like blocks falling down. That's what she said. Got home to her house to watch the television coverage. I immediately put it on tape because I knew this was something big. And I watched the entire coverage ever since then until late at night. And I remember very well watching, and the camera just focusing, and I was watching CNN, focusing on the World Trade Center site where it used to be smokes piled up and everything. I couldn't believe it. I was just there a year ago, and those buildings are hard to imagine falling down. From my personal experience being up close and to peeking inside and such, it must have been horrific. Saw the president's address also right after that late at night, and watched all the news coverages. It was all over the news, and they knew, in fact, that day that they knew Osama bin Laden had done these attacks. And something that was eerie to me was that, this is probably nothing, but a day before the World Trade Center got hit, I was playing SimCity 3000, of course, which is a good game. I love making cities in this game. I was 13 at the time. I loved doing that and loved playing that game. I play that game every single day, basically. But in this case, I made a city similar to New York the day before, and there was I created World Trade Center. I created Empire State Building. I created a whole bunch of things, and of course, when you have the gameplay going, some disasters could occur, and it did. There was a UFO invasion that, ironically, destroyed the World Trade Centers that I had. Destroyed a few buildings around, caught things on fire, but specifically destroyed the World Trade Center. But I would have never imagined that would ever happen in real life. not UFOs, but actual, hijackers. So there was some strange, I don't want to say irony, but that it was strange to me that it happened, because I would have never thought it would. And on this 10th anniversary, people still, I think, can't believe that it occurred in 10 years. There are people who are now 9, 10 years old, or soon going to be 10, that have never, I never even heard of, or never even seen the World Trade Center. And that saddens me greatly, because they were very good buildings. I'm sure that the people in there were fantastic in what they did, and the firefighters that day did the best they could, and I'm sure that they have a special place in heaven for them. And so, upon closing this video, 10th anniversary, I want to say a special prayer for those, send a special prayer for those who lost loved ones, those who are injured, and those anyone who suffered during the attack. God bless them, and I hope that something like this will never happen again in the United States, and around the world for that matter. So, I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are, and how 9/11 impacted you. So, if you would want to message me, or put a comment, or something rather, I'd be glad to hear from you. Well, that is all. So God bless, and we'll see you next time on The Pedro Show. Take care. God bless. As one who has seen also up close the World Trade Center both a year before and after I went down to New York City in 2004, and for the first time to see the World Trade Center site. Since then, we went down the same path we went to, took the subway, and went down there and went with my family, and it was cold, and it was the most eeriest thing I have ever experienced in my life. We went down there, and everything was gray. It seemed like it was gray, and there was nobody in the street. Absolutely nobody. Went down there, went to see the site up close. They had the site filled with fences and everything. Went down there was rubble, a lot of rubble. A lot of the columns, the steel columns, are still in the ground. And there was a lot of debris even in the buildings around the World Trade Center. It was still dirty. I couldn't believe it. After 3 years afterward, it's still a mess. It was the most eeriest experience I've ever encountered. And there was no one there until we left. There were people selling 9/11 stuff. So, but it was so quiet, so gray. It was hard to believe. And I went down there again in 2007 a few times to see that they closed most of it off to do some more repairs. But you still got to see rubble. Rubble was still there. And then as that point on, they started putting memorial things for it. And I'm glad to see now that they are placing a memorial, or they already placed a memorial that's about to open for the World Trade Center. And I hope that it'll be a great memorial that could commemorate all those who were lost that day, and all those who were injured, and those brave people who tried to save the lives of people who were around or within the building. And that was my experience visiting the World Trade Center before and after.